Well, there's an interesting discussion right here before about all things Halloween. But first of all, let's get into Frightmare. This has got to be great for you. I think we weren't sure that we were going to, I thought you had retired from this, but now we got you back. So first of all, thank you for coming back because everybody got a chance to move it.
Well, I didn't really retire, but I had to take some time off because I had a mini stroke. Oh. And my hand still doesn't function properly, and I was messing up a few personal items, so I said, this is time to lay off. So it ended up being about 4 years, and Sean Clark was kind enough to say, come on back, the fans really, you're very popular. Yeah, right. And then I realized this weekend, I guess I am, because I'm grateful for everybody. And not only that, I get to mess around with this guy. We had dinner together last night. We had a great conversation.
Yes.
Fun.
What you see is what you get. He is straight paper, Mr. Warlock. Yeah, it's cool.
And Leo
Rossi.
Yes.
I stepped on his dialogue. I'm sorry. I did that to what's his name? Bruce.
Bruce Willis? No.
No, he's here. He's one of the biggies.
Oh.
He did the voice of Chucky. Brad.
Brad.
I did a movie with him called Spontaneous Combustion, and I was a gate guard. He drives this car. I think it was an old Studebaker, a real old one, through this gate, and there's a shack there with a guard in it. That's me. I got my teeth out. I got my glasses on, And I got something for you. You hang on there. And he's trying to give his dialogue back to me, and I'm stepping all over him. So I get out of the car and walk around the back. And I say, get out of the car, get out of the car. And I forget exactly how I was talking, but he gets out of the car and he's talking to me. He's trying to get me to slow down. No. He holds his hand up and I just panic and go boom, and I shoot him in the hand, right? And he says, I'm so sorry. And I start towards him and he goes, fireball or something, but he lit me on fire, and that's the end of the scene. And I had to remind him that, remember me, the gate guard? He said, oh, what a night that was. That was beautiful. I'm running off at the night. I'm sorry.
No. Listen, you can run. Last night, I came in this morning, and he was sitting there, and we did have a very good time last night. And we were sitting talking about life, talking about family, and the business. Why not, right? So I came in this morning and I went, I have pissed at you. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you allowed me to have that last glass of wine, and now I woke up with a headache and I didn't take it.
It's a great good morning greeting.
Yeah. Well, and Leo, I know a lot of people are really excited to see you. We don't get to see you nearly enough, so thank you for coming on.
Well, I was scheduled to come in before COVID, and Sean, who is our guy, he had it all set up, and then I got a job. Yeah. But I will say this. I know Dallas has some nice people, and they're very sociable, but I've never been to one of these rodeos, these shows, where people were more energetic. They had no attitudes. It was a pleasure for me.
Well, we're going to open it up in a minute to questions because these guys have such fantastic questions. But first of all, Halloween 2, we just love it, and we always have. I know a lot of people grew up with it, and probably saw it a little bit too young. But do you have a certain memory from there that just stands out as like the definitive Halloween 2 memory for you?
Well, this was a part of a conversation we had today about the hot tub scene. And is there any Seinfeld fans here?
Yeah.
You're in the back. There's an episode in Seinfeld where George Costanza, he's caught in the water, and you know what happens to men in the water? It's the shrinkage factor. You gentlemen know what I'm talking about. Maybe the ladies do too, but it can be very embarrassing. So he's in a hot tub scene, which is my favorite, which was the question. And by the way, I didn't see those when we were shooting it. I saw those when and God, they're beautiful. In the movie, but anyway, he was telling me about the cold water, and you can tell that part. Go ahead.
That's why I didn't want to bring that temperature.
No,
What was that?
he's doing a great job. Rick Rosenthal, who was the director, he had to fight for me to play that role because Deborah Hill said, no, he's East Coast, this is Midwest. And he stood by me, right? So there is, for the foreign market, they want nudity, and this scene, Pamela and I had to sign, contract that we would do it nude. Well, all of a sudden, she's like, the day it happens, the day we were going to shoot it, and the crew, they were just salivating, right? And it wasn't for me, trust me. And so it was like...
It was me.
Yeah. Oh, you're damn right. So what happens is, I'm with my robe on and my Speedo, and I'm waiting, and Rick is all upset. She said she's not going to do it nude. Then we got they called her agent, and this is 7 o'clock in the morning, man. And so he said to me, look, why don't you take your robe off? She's getting close to I think it's going to be, you get in, you throw your Speedo off, I think it'll loosen her up. I said, well, yeah, okay, sure. I said,
It was having trouble with a piece of equipment.
oh, so I put my 1 foot in there, and it was freezing. And I looked at him, and he went, Leo, I'm in the jam generator broke, you gotta help me.
Hot water.
I went, and he fought for me. Okay. I get in, I throw the bathing suit off. I didn't want to look down, but I did. It was a raisin. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? But, yeah, I tell you, when you see the Halloweens, right, the first two, it's just like, God, they were well made, and not for a ton of money. Number two, more money than number one. Yeah, $2.5 million. Wow. And
160,000 for the first one.
wow, jeez. And yeah, because that was a lot of money for the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He took it all.
I would. I wasn't 3 checks though.
Yeah. It's great memories for me. Great friendships.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And Rick was in the same acting workshop I was in. Not for an actor, and if you ever saw his acting, you'd know that. But because he wanted to learn how to talk to actors. And he was married to an actress. So you'll have 6 characters in there that were all in the same acting workshop. So consequently, we all had worked together. There's a certain trust, a certain chemistry, and yeah, it turned out pretty good.
They knew how to play ad-lib,
Yeah.
play in the moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's it, man. But so we got that out of the way forever.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, because really, I do get chills thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Not the movie, the hot tub.
Chills.
Chills.
No,
Chills.
And Dick, of course, people want to know what it's like to take over such an iconic character, because in the first one, a lot of people know that there was several different people. They just kind of stand in the scene, but this was all you. It had to have been, I don't know, some kind of pressure.
Well, most of you know the story about how I got the job, I'm sure. Those that don't, raise your hand. Well, there's a lot that don't. I had worked with John and Deborah, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, on Escape from New York. And I was drug in there because I was in Kurt Russell's contract, and it really didn't have any choice. They had to hire me when they hired him. And so that show ended, and I got a call from Deborah Hill saying, we want you to come in and be the stunt coordinator on this new movie that we're doing. Okay, I knew nothing about it. I had never seen Halloween. My horror things ended with Frankenstein, Dracula, Bela Lugosi, and those people. You know, I mean, I'm an antique. I should be dead. I should be in the grave. Anyway, I showed up. I had a little meeting with Deborah, which went well. And she said, I said, is that it? And she said, no, you got to get down the hall and meet the director. Okay, fine. So I'm go down this long hallway, and I passed two offices. In the third one, or the second one there was an empty desk and a chair, and the mask was laying on the edge of the table, the desk. And she had briefed me on what the character was, what the movie was about. This guy Myers, the killer or whatever. I got the idea. Going in the office, I put the mask on, I went in the doorway, and I just stood there and looked at him. He says, who are you? I just stared at him. He said, who the hell are you? And I took the mask off and laughed. I said, I'm Dick Warlock, and I'm here for the job as a stunt coordinator. Okay, so I go sit down, and we have our meeting, and as I leave, I got the mask. I get halfway across the room, I stop, I look back, and I said, is there any reason I can't play this guy? He looked me up and down, and he said, if Deborah doesn't care, I don't care. So I went and said, if he doesn't care if you don't care. She said, I don't care, and that's history. That's the way I got the job. Then when before production starts, I go to a production meeting, and they said, will you go out and buy some wardrobe? Will you get the wardrobe? He's wearing coveralls and a mask, and you know, that's it. Okay, so I go buy coveralls. It turns out that I think the ones that were used in the first one were blue. Well, I went to Penny's or someplace and bought green ones. And then I went to Sears. That could be opposite. And I bought engineer boots with big heels on them, and I got studio insoles that put you up another inch. So from 5'9", I was 5'9" or 9.5 at the time. I'm 5'8" now, because when they replaced my knees, I think they took a couple inches out. Anyway, I was up at 6 foot. Supposedly that's what Nick was, without all the gimmicks. But I had a photo taken with Nick, and he's probably only about that much taller than me, actually. So I don't know about that 6 footer. But anyway, that's how I got the job. That's how the costume became the costume, and I got to keep everything after the movie was over. The mask, the coveralls, the boots, the knife, and the scalpel. And unfortunately, I let it go very reasonably about 10 years ago.
Oh, no.
That's history too.
I'll bet it was reasonable.
This guy's got the mask load insured for $250,000. So.
Wow. Well, now, there was a situation. Now, see if my memory it's correct. You have, after the movie's done, it's in the can, a cast and crew screening. Okay, so you want to see it. And the screening went great. And then they had the outtakes afterward. Do you remember they had outtakes where you were Michael,
Yeah.
and we were in that hospital, and Jamie Lee was going in one door and going in another door, and you were trying in the audience like this, and he stops, and he goes, Michael, he goes,
I did?
yes, it was brilliant.
I do remember the step scene coming down the step.
Yeah.
Walked through the door, turned left, and in the one rehearsal, they stopped and got a drink out of that drink. that Jamie stunt double ended up hiding behind when the fire went off.
Oh, that was
I don't think I saw those outtakes. I may not have been.
They were great.
I don't think I was at the party.
Oh.
I don't think.
You missed a good one.
What was that?
You missed a good one.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Wow. Well, that's a great set. That I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. And I don't think I've ever heard of anybody getting a fire like that. That's amazing. Well, I know you guys got amazing questions. Who's got a really good one to start us out? Aha, right in front.
I want to know what she thought about the reaction to the raisin.
Reaction to the raisin.
It turned back into a grape.
Let me just say that it was a sun kiss.
That's a good line.
That was bad.
We're getting in the gutter. Gotta watch it.
Oh, love it. Okay, how about in the back by the camera?
What was the scariest stunt that you had to do for Halloween 2? I know you've done a lot for Kurt Russell, the thing, everything else, but specifically for Halloween 2, what was the worst? Like, scariest stunt?
The scariest stunt.
Scariest?
You had to do
I didn't have any scariest. I mean, it's like a dance routine. You prepare properly, and that's what we do. We really try to take as much of the risk and the danger out of it as we can. Sometimes things happen, but when you're lit on fire, it's dangerous. When you wreck a car or a van into the car or whatever. I think Jack Verbois had the worst job, because when he played Kramer and he walked towards me, I'm driving a police car. I had built a platform. It was about that, I can't use this desktop, but it was about an 8-inch board, right? On the front of the police car. And there was a count off. We rehearsed this, that he goes to a certain point and counts back, because he's walking backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and he turns, and I'm there, and he's plap right over the front of the car, and off we went. We did it at a speed that was reasonable. I think it was 15. And if you notice, the police lights are going, ta, 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 ta. They're going real fast, because we undercranked the camera to make it look. Then when they sped the film up, or it looked like they sped it up, just the way it was photographed. But anyway, that could have been dangerous. But that thing was only about, I'm going to say, a half to a 3/4 inches off the street. So at most, it could have busted him in the toes of his shoes. But yeah, that was the worst one. But other than that, no, I didn't. He got choked. That was probably by me, and that's probably the most dangerous thing.
I went like this. I said, "Oh man!" The first time I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What?" I said, "A little tight there." He goes, "Do you want it real?" I get it. Okay, it's all right. I'll go with it, But when you have, when you're on a movie set, and most people now have been, but the older days, people didn't know. But say if I'm doing a scene with another actor, and you guys are in the audience, and I'm saying, "So what'd you do? Where's the money? Where is the money?" You're the people watching the filming. You don't know what's said, and it's like it's a little letdown. When you see it on the big screen, the heroes, the thing people want to come to see, the stuntmen. They are the heroes on a movie set.
Well, every trailer for a movie that's got any action in it at all is shown in the trailer.
Yeah.
To attract attention.
Yeah. And he was Kurt Russell's stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's for a stunt man, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Very good thing.
Yeah.
I worked with Bill Shatner, and Bill fancies himself, he wants to do all the stunts. Bill, he wants to be good, Mr. Macho. They pay these guys to make you look good, right? Yeah. And I'm not in love with doing bouncing and all this thing, but he a couple times I had to chase him up to I don't know how many steps. And he was like, "Come on, you can do it, right?" He's macho in me, right? So there was about an 8-foot wall. And he said, he was directing the episode of T.J. Hooker, right? And he said, "You can get over that wall, can't you?" I said, "Listen, you got my stuff. Well, let him do it." And he said, all right. So the stunt double, I couldn't mention anything. Goes and I see him for the first day, goes over, and his ass was this big.
That W.
Yes. And I went to shatter. You know, I can do that, Bill. Let's try that, man. Jeez, I don't want to get blamed to have, you know, a big ass. But anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, I know we're supposed to stick to Halloween too, but I'm sure everyone would appreciate a good Kurt Russell story, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I don't have any Kurt Russell stories that are exciting at all. I really don't. I mean, I would turn to Kurt, or he'd turn to me and he'd say, "Should I do this?" You know, and I'd say yes or no. Now there was one in Escape from New York, which was the only real time there was any kind of conflict at all. Do you remember Escape from New York? Anybody? Yeah. I can't remember the guy's name, and I asked for his forgiveness, but he's deceased now. The wrestler who they had with Kurt in that ring, the club, you remember that scene?
Ox Baker.
Well, yeah. What's his name?
Ox Baker.
Ox Baker. Ox is this big lumbering dude, man, and he's a wrestler, and he's going to tear the guy up and everything. And he really gets into it. And Kurt's going, and I said, "You can do this, Kurt." And it ended up, Ox is coming after him, man, and then cut. Ox, I'm going to tell you one time, you hit me with that club, and I'm going to bury it in your balls. After that, it was cool. He had no close calls or anything.
See, that's a great Kurt Russell story. All right. All right, I love it.
Well, you know, what actors do, first of all, when two actors are in a fight, that's a mess. You know,
It gets dangerous.
Yeah, it really does. Because everything's planned out that they do. I was doing a movie that was, I wish it never, but I got paid. But anyway, I had a scene in the ring with Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
Right? And it was the whole thing, and I was not too bright of a guy and all that. So we get in, and you know, he's got the kilt on, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, what's under the kilt?"
Uh-oh.
And he went, he didn't say nothing, right? So the stunt coordinator says, "All right, here's what we're going to do." And Roddy said, "No." I said, "I'll do the stunt. I'll put it all out." He said, "Put it all out?" He said, "Yeah, I'll lay it all out." He said, "You're a tough guy. You're a big guy." Oh, why didn't I open my mouth? It's a kilt remark, right? So he says, "What you're going to do is this." He said, you're going to come at me, and I'm going to put my foot up in your stomach, and you're going to fly over, boom. And he says, "Let's get it started." Oh, all right. In midair, as I'm laying there, I said, "He didn't tell me how to land." This son of a bitch didn't. Oh, man, boom, boom, you know. Oh, he got even with me. When he sent the stunt coordinator away, I went, "Oh, geez, oh, please."
I love it. Right back there at the blonde. Yes. Sorry. Very good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
The last scene, like the scaffold scene, when you're swinging that, is that you? Or is that your son?
Oh, when you're swinging the scaffold at the end,
Yeah.
was that you?
How did it feel like?
So she needs a microphone, or I need to turn these up.
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
You want to come on up?
Walk
Come
down
on.
here.
Yeah.
I remember you.
Ah,
I
there
remember
we
you
go.
at my table.
Here,
Yeah.
come and take my mic. Oh, it's
Aha, now you know what it's like.
The last scene, like when you're doing the
Yeah,
scaffold.
there's
You
I
just got
hated
really-
that scene.
Okay, so can you tell me about it a little bit? Like, because you got real close. So it was like, how was it for you? Like,
Well,
experiencing that?
yeah, now the blade was made out of tinfoil,
Okay.
right? The scalpel itself in that scene was rubber. It wasn't real. I mean, I'm looking. I'm not just slashing, but I'm looking as I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, I can hear them.
Wrestling away, I'm not going to touch it. You know? Pow! Anyway, That's,
Yeah.
But it's a cool experience.
did you like the scene?
I love that scene.
Do you? I didn't like it. I thought, you spastic, what are you doing? Eyes covered up.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
All right, the scenes that I actually loved in Halloween 2 were the scenes that made no sense, and they weren't realistic, but they were funny as hell. I'm talking about the one with the scalpel where you actually hold the girl up. Oh, yeah. And then, in addition to
oh
that,
no, Michael's a tough son of a gun. What do you mean?
You got him standing there.
and the other scene is when he puts his hand inside of the elevator, and the elevator doesn't open, so.
Haven't you ever done that? You can actually do that. It's triggered. You put your hand in it, it'll open up. Try it sometime. Stand up a minute. Turn around. Now, this is what I was doing while she was hanging. She has a harness on, and there's wires going up, right? To a bracket up top, what they call a, I can't even remember the name of it, but it's attached to cables that go down to where 2 500-pound grips are pulling. And I got her jacket, or her thing, like this, squeezing it. That's what it is. And when they raise her up, I just follow with it. It's a gimmick, it's a gag, but that's movies. That's what we do. It's like the punch I threw at him.
Yeah.
I missed him by that much. But you put the sound effect in, and he does
Oh,
that.
right. If I
and
sell
you got a
it,
hit.
it's right. Both sides have to be in sync.
Yeah,
you know,
but
to
sometimes
sell.
actors can get a little close.
Oh, bad news. Bad
And
news.
they've busted a lot of
Oh,
stunt
you know
guys'
what?
noses.
Let's say it. I don't give a damn here. Steven Seagal. He hurt a lot of stuntmen. A lot. And he hurt actors too. Now, Mr. Dick Warlock had a friend who was a stunt coordinator. You can finish the story. Go ahead.
Well, anybody know Gene LaBelle? A couple of judo guys back there, maybe wrestlers, I don't know. But Gene LaBelle is one of the toughest guys on the planet. Not today, unfortunately. He's aging. And he was on a movie called what? Silent something?
Yeah, one of the Seagal movies. Yeah.
My would-be daughter-in-law, almost daughter-in-law, was the girl that popped out of the cake in that movie.
Under Siege.
What is it?
Under Siege.
Yeah.
Great movie.
So Seagal is lipping off at Gene, who is a professional MMA artist. I mean, he's the toughest guy on the planet physically. I had him choke me out once. I had to coax him into it. We were on a show called Switch with Robert Wagner. I'd done a little high fall, wasn't half as high as that, just on a little pad. And we were finished with that. We're jacking around. And I said, hey, Gene, do that choke thing on me. You know, I ain't putting them guys out. No. Oh, come on, man. I want to know what it feels like. No. I said, well, it's probably phony, like that wrestling you do down there at your mom's place. Well, okay. Count backwards from 10, Dick. And all the guys are sitting around there. And I said, 10, 9. I woke up. I'm on my stomach laying on the pad. He's rubbing my back, and the guys are laughing. And he put something on me because I had a little sore throat for a couple of days. I mean, I'm going to get even with you, punk. And he did it. And the story goes now that Mr. Seagal, the tough guy, was getting a little lippy about nobody's ever done anything like that choke thing to me. Nobody can put me out. Oh, really? Yeah, not even this guy. Well, this guy grabbed him and Seagal actually crapped his pants. That's right out of Gene's mouth.
Yeah.
He denies that story.
But Seagal is...
Yeah, well, he can deny it only once. That's true. You know it.
But Seagal made Gene, or tried to make Gene, he said, if any of your fellow stunt guys ever want to work on one of my movies, until you apologize publicly. And he apologized in some way, but what it was to save the other stunt guys, to save them work. It's basically what it was. But he had to swallow his pride too. But it wasn't anything major. It wasn't in whatever, the Enquirer magazine or something. But that's a true story, right out of Gene's mouth.
Wow.
Even the big guy, Seagal.
Yeah. Casey, go ahead.
How involved was John Carpenter in Halloween 2? Was he on set?
Oh, yeah.
He was on set for 4, I think. My son Lance, who was the boombox boy, if you remember that character. You remember that character, the boombox? Yeah. That was my youngest boy. My oldest boy was one of the 2 boys that ran up outside the Myers house and said, "Have you seen our buddy, Bennett Tramer? He's wearing this funny mask and so on." That was Billy. Became a family thing, but what was the question?
Oh, about John Carpenter being on set.
Oh, yeah. Lance knows specifically what they were, but there was the scene that Billy was in showing what, because of the radio announcement about she's at the hospital or something, and there was no way to connect it to, how did Myers know that? Well, they had him go by the hospital sign after he bumped into my son, the boombox boy. Then there was a killing of Annie. I jumped out and cut her throat. I never understood why she didn't see me standing right there when she walked in the room. And is somebody outside? And then I cut her throat. Do you remember that scene? Yeah. Okay. I got a still photo of holding the knife, and it's a flash off the knife. It's one of those that we sell out there. Oops. And then there's something else, but I can't remember what it was. But I think there's 4 little scenes that he did, that he had to add, that were not in the finished product, or that,
What was it like working with Donald Pleasance?
And Donald Pleasance.
I had worked with Donald briefly on Escape from New York, and the most I was around him was when he was chained to the wall, and the Duke the boys are all there and whatever. And I found him to be, somebody told me he's got a great sense of humor, but I didn't see that just because of what was happening, But he's a consummate professional, knows his dialogue as well as everybody else's, and it's amazing, the guys you get to work with and the gals in this business. We've been so blessed that way. And that fellow's got his hand up. Did that answer your question?
Yes,
it does. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I understand that Dana Carvey had a small part in the movie, so what was he like to work with back then?
Dana Carvey.
What was it?
Dana Carvey.
I didn't know he was in the movie.
Oh, yes, outside the house. And the lady that he was working with, like she'd be the executive producer of the news show or whatever, she went on to do Emergency 911 or whatever that series that was on, something 911. She produced that show for all those years that was on. Yeah, so they both grew. I mean, Dana went on to be Dana Carvey,
Oh, that's so cool. Right here, sir.
Over here?
Yes.
For Dick, at the end, when you come out with the flame, that
Yeah.
go up, was that you or a stunt?
No, one and the same. I had done the Hindenburg. I jumped out of the front of the Hindenburg on fire. I did a movie called Firestarter, and they got burned up in that one. I think there's 4 big jobs I did on fire, but
How many
yeah,
takes was that?
it was 2 takes.
2 takes?
Yeah. Something happened. It was indoors. It was one of the hottest burns that I've ever done because they had the ceiling and heat rises, and the heat was kept in there, and it just,
Dangerous, man.
Huh?
That's dangerous.
It was, and it was hot. It was hot, but anyway, I got paid good.
The fire is a whole different thing, because in Maniac Cop, the director said, "Oh, I got this great shot. I can put the camera here, and and I'll set your arm on fire, and it'll be great. I'll see you screaming through the thing." He said, "What do you think?" I said, you do it, and then I'll do it. And he did it, right?
Sure you did.
So Lustig, yeah, he did it, right? So then they put the, everything on the gel and stuff, and I said, wow, I saw it, right? That's okay. And the guy was a pyro guy, he was, top of his class here, and everything. When they light the fire, you feel the heat. You don't get burnt, but you feel that heat.
I've never used gel, but I understand it's really good.
Yeah, it worked and everything, and it was like, the first thing you want to do is go like this. But I stayed in and everything, and afterward everybody applauded. I said, hey, look.
Did you have no mix at all? Just on your skin?
Yeah, and it was like, and then my beard was singed. Holy shit! That was just damn.
Was Tony Caesar involved in that?
No, Spiro Rosati.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we got time for a couple more right there. Yes.
Did the director ever say why he put Mr. Sandman in it?
Did the director ever say why you put Mr. Sandman in it?
I have no idea.
I'm just glad he did.
Mr. Sandman.
Because, every time I hear that, I get goosebumps.
See, that was one of the songs that was real popular when I was a guy, a young teenager.
Yeah.
Mr. Sandman.
Oh, I mean, it's when you hear that, it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
Absolutely, right back there at the.
Who actually did the stunt falling off the balcony on the end of one?
Who did the stunt at the end of part 1, falling off the balcony?
That was Jim Winburn. Another stunt guy, but he fell off the back of the house when they didn't have the railing. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
And I had to put a ramp up. Anybody that watched it a time or two sees that I go up the thing and then off. I had to put a little ramp up because when I rehearsed it, it would catch me just below the knees, and I always ended up on my face. I couldn't, unless I did a flip, and a side thing. And I couldn't do that to land right. So it looks kind of funky, but it goes fast enough that a lot of people don't see that. But now everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
It's like the airbag. When Hooper came out, the airbag, suddenly everybody knew, they fall into a pillow. What is that stuff? Anyway.
I love it. I saw that hand right there.
So you mentioned earlier that you had sold, some of the stuff that you got on set. I know that there's multiple masks. So how many did you use and did you sell? Did you get all of them and sell all of them, or how did that work?
Well, I only know of 2, and that's the 2 that I know about. The first one, what they call the hero mask, that was from the first movie.
Yeah.
They made one that burned up at the end. It was just a simple white mask like you can get at Sherman, whatever that place is. It sells a lot of them in the mall and stuff. But that's the only 2 that I know of. Well, they manufactured some funky things that we burned up, but I don't know if they were full masks that they cut up into pieces or whatever, but I had a mask on that I guess had to look like mine.
Yeah, I mean, I kept the jacket, Bud, the ambulance jacket, and because there was no blood on it, and I get choked and everything, and it was good. So, in one back years, we were at one of these, and the guy came up to me and he said, where's that jacket? I said, oh, no, I own it. He said, you own the real one? Yeah. He said, what do you want for it? I said, listen, it's sentimental. And then he threw a number out. I said, but not that sentimental. He's got it now. God bless him.
No more memories.
I love it right here, sir.
Christine is one of my favorite movies. I was just wondering what stunts you were responsible for in that movie.
Yeah, well, there's a long story about Christine. I got to drive in one scene, and then they said, we don't want you on here anymore. And the reason for that is I had a fallout with Deborah on a movie, and it was over a safety issue. And like any other business, I guess, there's a wagon wheel. There's a lot of spokes that run out. And at the end of the spokes are a lot of people that you might have gotten known through somebody in the hub. But if something affects you, that goes out to the spokes, right? And they all know about it. And the producer of he used to be Kurt Russell's brother-in-law, but for a lot of Kurt's shows came to me after I came back from the location where I left early, as a result of a choice that was made by Deborah, you know, either me or him. Well, sorry, Dick. So I left, and now I don't, dementia's sneaking in on me, folks, I gotta be honest with you. But where was I at with that?
With Christine.
Yeah, Christine. So, the producer, the friend, who was a friend of mine, he said, you know what happened? He said, you kicked yourself in the butt. I can't hire you anymore. I said, what do you mean? He said, what happened with Deborah? You know, it's like the hub and the spokes, and you're out. No more. The only one that didn't put me out was Kurt Russell. The rest of the people, I was banned.
Now, and he has got a great reputation. He is respected. I did the second season, 3 episodes, the first 3 episodes of Hill Street Blues, after it won all the Emmys and everything like that. And so everybody was right. And I played an actor who was going to go under, you know, and he wanted to travel with the guys, you know. Yeah. And he was called John Gennaro. Okay, where did they get that? The Bob De Niro, who likes to really go and investigate a part. And it was a thing that what ended up happening, which it was so, I thought, innocuous. I was supposed to be undercover, you know, and with an undercover guy. And we were in a tiny little luncheonette. So they said, oh, you know, you got to put the sunglasses on. I said, well, Thomas Carter was the director. I said, well, what are we, nuts here? I'll cause attention to myself. Yeah. I said, I'm all made up. You can't, I can't recognize me. He says, okay, all right, don't worry about it. After 2 days later, Carter comes to me and says, you know, you almost got me fired. I said, what do you mean? He said, Stephen Bochco told everybody that you had to wear that, and you didn't wear it, and I let it go. I said, what the hell? Oh, come on. Never. And I was up for an Emmy, right, for that. They promoted it, the network. Never did I ever work for Stephen Bochco again. And I was right for a lot of series. Boom. The middle of the spoke, right? The middle of the
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Egos in our business, very easily bruised.
My father said a long time ago, he says, you never, pardon the expression, you never shit where you eat. And I took a dump in my lunch pail, so to speak. Yeah. But I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I say, yep, you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely.
I was protecting people from what could have happened. It didn't happen, but it could have happened. In my objection to what was going to happen, what I thought might happen. You know what I'm saying, on the show? So I had to choose between one person and myself, or my conviction and his. And then I went to Deborah, and it didn't work out in my behalf or on my half. So that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Well, we're time for one final. It was a really good Halloween.
Oh, you're not going to end it now, are you? The last thing, nobody, you're going home?
No, I mean, I don't care. I'm here, you're here. If you want to keep going.
You have a time limit?
We do, but I mean.
No, we can go then.
Well, how about that? Maybe we'll speed through a couple. How about right here, sir?
This one's actually not about Halloween 2, it's about Halloween H2O. Weren't you considered for the role?
In what?
Were you considered for the role for H2O, Halloween?
I think that's the one that I got a phone call for. And I wasn't home, and Kathy, my wife, answered the phone, and they said, do you think Dick would be up for retrieving the role of Michael? Yeah, they're not too happy with the fella they have and the way the mask looks and all that. And I can't remember who the fella was that was going to play the part. But then they called back about a half an hour later, and I still wasn't home. And they said, well, we're so sorry, but we decided we'd have too much footage already on this other guy with that mask. And so tell him, you know, we appreciate that he would come, but we can. That's as close as I came to ever working after, you know, that Halloween 2 on any other Halloween.
You would have made the movie that much better.
Yeah.
Well, you know, my name was brought up by Fred Lerner for, I think it was part 4, I believe it was, and he suggested, well, bring Warlock back in to do Myers again, and Mustafa said, I want Jason. So they actually went with Tom Morgan. And Tom did about the first 15 minutes of footage. I don't know where it ended up because we, you know, don't shoot in continuity most of the time anyway. So they got George when Mustafa came in. He did the same thing, bigger. And so they got George P. We're all in the same stunt group. We all work. In fact, I didn't even know about Halloween conventions like this. I was working on a Married with Children. A guy named Don Shanks is working there with some other of us, and he said, "So you're Warlock?" Because we'd never met before, and I said, "Yeah, like nice meeting you." He said, "How come you don't do the conventions with us?" I said, "What convention?" And he said, "Yeah, we got, you know, now mind you, they're on part 4. They've done part 4 already." So. And so I see George Wilbur in our office one day, and I said, "Hey, George, I understand you doing conventions." He said, "Well, yeah, well, guy's making buku money in one place in New Jersey." And he says, "Well, you know, so you don't want to share the wealth? You tell me about it." And so about a year later, Tony Timpone from Fangoria Magazine gets a hold of me, and he said, "I've been trying to get a hold of you for a long time." He said, "None of the guys know where you are, or whatever." And I said, "Well, I'm here." He said, "Yeah." He said, "I've got a convention down in L.A. at the L.A. airport. If you're interested, would you like to?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come down there." So I took the dummy with the costume on it. It's got the head, you know, the whole thing. And people just glommed onto it, and they literally glommed onto it. Oh, look at the feel good. I said, "I'm never going to do that again." I thought I'd come home in shreds. No, they'd be, you know. That's how that whole thing went. And, you know, thanks to Don Shanks, who probably was better. Oh, I did ask George Wilbur, did you look at the first and second to kind of play on it? He said, "I don't care what the hell you guys did." Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right, right here.
Did you write the Amazing Grace little song?
Amazing Grace.
We can wrap it up with that, boys.
All right. It was, oh geez. It doesn't say anything about me in the end here, but in the script, I was supposed to sing Happy Birthday. And, you know, I was good with that. And I was thinking, and Rick said, "But you'll raunch it up a little bit." I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. That's my character, Bud, right? So we're going to shoot it, and one of the producers was a lawyer. He kept out, he started singing Happy Birthday. Rick said, yeah. "No, the royalties will that'll kill us. You can't do that." He said, well, then what can we do that is public domain? He said, "Amazing Grace." And once again, Rick Rosenthal, who fought for me, I looked at him and he went, "Okay, right, Leo?" "Yeah, okay." And then he says, now, I knew I was going to rhyme, right? Rhyme things. I said, "That's what I got to do." I said, "Amazing Grace comes in on my..." Okay. "I don't lie. I love your..." Okay. Rick went, "That's beautiful."
Rick is a sick man.
I love that. All right, who's got the great final question for us? We got to wrap this up here. Who's got it? I saw a bunch of hands. There we go, waving all the way back.
Not a question, but I just want to say Dick Warlock's one of the best. Michael Myers.
You Rick, sir. You know, and one thing that we've been doing at the end of the panels is we'll turn around and take a selfie with everybody here. If you guys can all stand up and crowd around, then we'll give these guys a big send-off.
All right.
Ready? Everybody in? Okay, here we go.
Hold on. Let me put this there. This there.
All right. Can everybody see themselves? There we go. Oh. We gotta have you in here, Nick. All right, 3, 2, 1, and again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dick Warlock, Leo Rossi, Halloween 2, Texas Frightmare Weekend. Thank you guys so much for coming. We'll see you next year.
And if you guys didn't buy the tickets, we wouldn't be here. I'd be pumping gas at Walmart. I am so grateful. God bless everyone.